So let's sit here. Delphine, we're coming back with you on the management fund. There's a true transformation of this industry, both based on the pressure related to margins, but also technology-related changes. First of all, I would like to wish you all a happy new year. I would like to ask you to forgive Philippe Sedbon, who was to speak this morning, but he can't attend. So indeed, the asset management industry is such that all the players of the sector, the business, the industry have to adapt themselves. We are lucky enough to have in France an ecosystem, a financial ecosystem, which is very rich, very diversified, with players that are global, but also small businesses, small companies. So this is a good basis for innovation. We have a third related to management, which is one third of the European market. So this the level is quite stable. There are new companies being created, but the impetus is quite it's more stable. So we need all this ecosystem to be adapted and to transform, to adapt themselves, to adapt and to transform, because we have a pressure on the margins, a pressure on the incomes, because we're in an environment which is very competitive with new products that are of which the margin is lower. But also there's an inflation as for the costs, whether it is wage-related costs or fees or IT expenses, but also it's about the regulation. For the last 20 years, the regulations have strengthened on this industry. Yes, the regulation is very heavy now. At least there's an increase in the contributions and also in inflation on the capital, because the products are more capital consumers, so to speak, with this will to diversify even further towards non-marged products. So by 2025, we're going to be part of this impetus. As for the transformations, the management companies lead these transformation in several manners. We have innovation in the digital area with huge investments. Also, some of the companies that have merged or coming closer. Some of them were announced in 2024. Some other will come up in 2025. So all this meets the need to transform, in having the offer changing, in looking into the structures, in innovating things. Digital-wise, it changes a lot of things. The AI gen, this will transform the different sectors, the different businesses. So we're going to have a roundtable, one about the regulation, another one about the transformation, the changes in this industry. So when it comes to regulation, what do you think are the main issues, the main challenges, given that there are many constraints related to Europe? Indeed, regulation has strengthened in our sector, in our business, with the will to protect the investor. This has started about 20 years ago, but now there's another question, namely, is it effective, efficient enough for the investors? Because maybe we should look into the clarity of documentation, its efficiency, its effectiveness, and also the volume that are quite big. But there are investors that are quite that don't dare, because when we look into the clients' journeys, they tend to hesitate to invest. However, companies need to further additional investments. So there are different reports that have been published as for the lack of competitiveness in the European economy. And therefore, it's paramount to invest into companies, into shares. So the savers need to be able to do so further, even more. The European Commission, in its strategy-related roadmap that was published last summer, insists on the necessity to be even more competitive. And we can see that the regulation is related to initiatives. It's about taking initiatives in order to figure out how to simplify the different texts, the different regulations, for instance, sustainable finance. There are issues related to how the texts are worded and so on. And also it's about harmonization between the national levels and the European level. And this is related to cross-border distribution. Sustainable finance, these regulations indeed are very heavy, the CCRD standards and so on. Maybe there will be moratoria. Maybe it's too early to talk about it. Actually, in sustainable finance, we need a framework. The asset managers have pushed for regulations to take place in such a way that there are standardization, not only related to the indicators and also to the framework, because otherwise there's a risk. So maybe we started to do things the other way around. We started with the reporting, the SFDR, but for the investors, it's key to have reliable auditable data that are also harmonized in such a way that it's possible to have the right investment choices, to make the right investment choices. So SFDR-wise, CSRD, it's important to keep the data, the indicators that are unavoidable, so in such a way that we can do the relevant investments. Therefore, we need to have the data, because if we don't have this data, we're not going to be able to invest and to fund the companies that engage into transition. Roundtable number 2 this morning is about distribution. Indeed, there are new challenges, new issues. What are the main ones? Indeed, it's about regulatory documentations. We need to have documentations to be clearer, to be more accessible for the investors. But many documentations doesn't mean that they're clear. Also investing in technology, in digitalization. We have platforms online that are booming. We also have AI that opens new doors of opportunities, but also other challenges, issues related to cybersecurity, data protection, and also accessibility of all this data for all the client segments. And in France, there's this topic related to clients who are not really technophiles or technology users, friendly users. Millions of them are not technology literates. We need to take that into account, especially in the distribution field. There are other players who need more understandable data, documentation. We also have young investors who are more interested in digital solutions. Sometimes it's risky, isn't it? That's where financial education plays its role. And we still have a lot of work to do when it comes to financial education in such a way that the young investors don't find themselves in a situation where they don't have proper understanding of the risk related to these products. For instance, when I hear that Bitcoins is less risky than the stock exchange, it means that there's a problem with financial education. And also when it comes to distribution, I'll say that regulation is there to give trust, to give confidence, but the geopolitical context is very tricky, very complex. it has an impact on the investors' trust, confidence. This is also a challenge because the environment is very uncertain with crises in a geopolitical context, which is very complex. Thank you very much, Delphine. So this will be the final word for this morning. We can give a round of applause to Delphine de Chaise-Martin. Thank you.
Welcome to Paris. Our Global Fund registration team acts as a one-stop shop, providing comprehensive support to meet all regulatory requirements for the distribution of foreign investment schemes in Switzerland. With our broad range of services, we help our clients navigate the complexities of fund registration and ensure seamless market access. With us, you can also expand your knowledge about the Financial Services Act. Our online courses are now available 24/7. With GFR at 1741 Group, we prioritise your needs, act independently in your interest, offer attractive representation fees, cover FINMA fees for agent changes, and provide expert support to ensure your distribution team is FINSA compliant. You can contact our team for dedicated support and expert guidance.